My 3 part-time jobs when I was in my mid-20s did not leave me financially solvent enough to take on Christmas. So I had no choice but to bake the Christmas presents I had to give out. And I didn't have a whole lot of people I had to get Christmas presents for, but I had enough to where I had to get kind of creative with my pantry. My 3 part-time jobs were they weren't dead-end jobs, but they were for me because they were music type things. I was teaching piano, I was a teaching assistant in the music program at the local community college, and I was substitute teaching in music with the school district, teaching K through 12. And I was also experiencing intermittent nerve deafness, so I was staring at the end of my music teaching career. Wow. It's heartbreaking. So I was kind of at this point where I was like, I can't do this much longer, but what am I going to do next? I have no idea. And I knew that I loved to bake because here I was getting ready to bake my way through Christmas. And I kind of made a deal with myself that, yes, I was going to have to give up these jobs at some point in the next 6 months because I couldn't fake it any longer, and then I knew how to do them because I was losing my hearing. But I found this recipe. I wasn't a professional by any stretch at this time. I was just a hobby baker, and I've been baking since I was a little kid, taking after my grandmother and my dad. Not my mom, oddly, but I made a deal with myself that if I could make this particular flourless chocolate tort, and if it came out right, I was going to figure out a way to go to culinary school. That was just going to be it for me. That was my deal I made with myself. And so I did this in the flourless chocolate tort. The thing is that there's no flour in it, obviously, because flourless, but because there's no flour in it, there's nothing really to bind the ingredients together to make a cake, like a cohesive cake. So you're really relying on eggs. So you're really talking about a custard. And so, so a custard that you've made in a water bath and it comes out and it's not going to break. And the thing is that there were so many pitfalls that I had set up for myself. And I thought, if I can pull this off, going to culinary school, gonna figure it out. So I made that cake and I stashed it in the fridge. I didn't know what it was supposed to look like. I knew it was supposed to be eaten upside down, like the top crust would turn into the bottom crust. And as the grown-ups know, the crust is the good part because it's toasty and it's nutty. But I made it first, before anything else, before any of the gifts. And I put it in the fridge, and in the fridge it stayed. And then I embarked on everything else. And my pantry was full, it was full of flour and chocolate chips and cake flour and oats and nuts. And so I had a bucket of sugar out the wazoo. So I had enough in the pantry to pull off gift bags of cookies and muffins, and that's what I did. I made cookies. I made several different kinds of cookies and snickerdoodles and chocolate chip cookies and rolled cookies, and I didn't do the iced cookies. That's a lot of work. And I did muffins, and I did biscuits, and I did scones, and just everything. Truffles, I made truffles, and I got everything sort of divvied out, and I had plans for this bag is gonna go to this family, and this basket can go to that family, and I was pulling together baskets I had left over from a party that I had thrown. It's fantastic, and I'm putting this together, I'm almost pulling this Christmas off, and the last thing I wanted to make was baklava. Wow. And baklava is wonderful, and it takes forever because you lay down one paper-thin sheet of dough, and then you brush it with melted butter, and then you throw cinnamon sugar on it, and then you nuts, and then another sheet of dough, and you do this 1,000 more times, and it takes freaking ever. And then once you've baked it all off, you bring it out of the oven, and you just soak it in this beautiful sugar syrup. And that's what I was doing. It was day before Christmas Eve, and I had been up for hours and hours, and I couldn't take any more smoke breaks, and my kitchen was obliterated. And I had biscuits, and I had cookies, and I had scones, and I had truffles, and I had things cooling on racks, and I had other things cooling in a dining room, and everything was everywhere. And this last thing was baklava, and it was 2:30 in the morning, and I made the syrup, and I was spoon the syrup over the baklava. I can't stay upright anymore. I'm going to bed. I'll deal with the rest in the morning. And I went to bed for 4 hours. Got up, Went back in the kitchen. Every aunt in the southwestern USA was in my kitchen. They smelled the baklava. Look, it smelled good. It smelled good. But every aunt in the southwestern USA was in my kitchen, and every aunt was on everything that wasn't locked down, and nothing was locked down. I lost everything. And I said the F word a lot, like a lot. And I had cats at the time, and I'm kicking them out of the room because I'm just gonna make a big cloud of raid. And I read everything was ruined. Everything was ruined, and all I gave for Christmas was apologies. So the baklava broke my heart, because it took me hours to make the baklava, and it broke my heart to pieces, and I couldn't talk to anybody for a day. But I did learn my lesson from that, okay? You're cooking in the wintertime, you're baking in the wintertime. Bugs exist in the summer. We know about palmetto bugs in Florida, right? In the summer, it's ants in the winter in the Southwest, I'll tell you. But my big lesson was secure the stuff before you go to bed, obviously. But you know what was untouched? That flourless chocolate torte in the fridge. It's the only thing I had. It's the only thing I had left. So I thought, Christmas Eve, I turned it out onto a plate, and abashedly cut myself a slice, and I ate it. And y'all, I nailed that shit. I nailed it. So my deal with myself was done. Like, I was going to figure out a way to go to culinary school. I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but I knew because of this cake, like at some point, despite the failure of the day before, I was going to have a future as a pastry chef. And then I ate the entire cake. Merry Christmas.